All right, for homework 4.2, remember there's two parts, slope-intercept form, which we just talked about, and standard form. And remember at the beginning of your last video, I showed you the linear equations, and those are the two forms that we have, slope-intercept form and standard form. So standard form, remember we said, is a real pretty one. AX plus BY equals C, everything's positive. Your leading coefficient is A, is always positive. So if you look through numbers 1 through, let's just even do 1 through 8, notice these are all in standard form. Variables on their left, constant term on the right, and everything is in a whole number or whole integer. Okay, so you can kind of see that there. So how do we graph a line given that it's in standard form? Slope-intercept's really easy because all you do is you look for your beginning point, which is your y-intercept, and then you can write out your slope. So how do we do that with something that's in standard form? Well, we are going to convert it. Okay, so what do you mean convert it? Well, I know how to manipulate variables, right? I know how to get variables from one side of the equation to the left, and that's additive inverse. So all I'm going to do is I need to get it in this form. So really, I just have to get y by itself. So if I'm here, how do I get y by itself? I got to get rid of that 2x term. How do I get rid of it? Additive inverse. Subtract 2x on both sides. And what am I left with? Y equals 3 minus 2x. Now, this does not match slope-intercept form exactly, and I want it to match exactly. This one, your beginning point is first, and your slope is last. Remember, we said slope is the coefficient of x. So even though it looks easy to put it in 3 minus 2x, I want my slope first. So it should be y equals negative 2x plus 3. Commutative property here. Commutative property. Notice my slope is still negative 2. My beginning point or my y-intercept is still positive 3. So I want you using that commutative property to put my slope first. This is how I know if you watch the video or not, if you're following the instructions. Okay, so let's do a couple of those examples together, and let's just go down the list on the odd ones, okay? So I get y by itself, so I'm going to subtract x on both sides. I get negative 3y equals negative x plus 12. Notice I'm putting my slope first and then my constant term. Watch when I divide by a negative 3. I'm dividing everything by a negative 3. I'm dividing my x term by a negative 3 and my constant term by a negative 3. So I have to divide both terms by a negative 3. And when it happens, I get y equals negative divided by negative is a positive. So it's 1/3. Notice 3 is my denominator, x. 12 divided by negative 3 is negative 4. So now that fits the form y equals 1/3 x minus 4. So when you divide, make sure you divide every term. Okay? Number 5. Subtract 4x on both sides, and I get negative y equals negative 4x. I'm not going to put that plus 0. I don't need it. And then I'm going to divide by negative 1, divide by negative 1 to get it to be y equals positive 4x. So my beginning point is 0, or my y-intercept, and my slope is 4. So I can still identify slope and beginning point. All right, let's take a look at number 7. So I'm going to add 6x to both sides, additive inverse. It was negative, now it's positive, and I get 4y equals 6x plus 20. And now I'm going to divide everything by 4. Divide by 4, divide by 4. So now I get y equals, I'm going to reduce my fraction, 3 over 2x plus 5. And now my beginning point is 5, and my slope is 3/2. Okay? All right, let's go down to number 9. Next page, let's flip it over. Oh man, totally not working. I'm sure you've already done number 9 on your own and you're waiting for me, so let's do it. So subtract 3x on both sides. I get 3y equals negative 3x minus 12, and then I divide everything by 3. So I get y equals negative x, or negative 1x, minus 4. My beginning point is negative 4. My slope is negative 1. Okay, let's look at number 11. I subtract 12x on both sides. I get negative 9y equals negative 12x minus 9. And I divide everything by negative 9. And I get y equals negative divided by negative is a positive. and then I reduce that, so I get 4/3 x plus 1. My beginning point's 1, my slope is 4/3. Okay, so hopefully that's enough practice problems on that. So now, if you have something like this and it says determine the equation that best represents the line shown, how would I know which graph this belongs to? Well, I'm going to convert all of these. What I'm looking for is I'm looking for a beginning point of -2, and I'm looking for a slope of, you can pick out any line. It crosses it here, it crosses it here, it crosses it here. So I can pick out any dot I want to represent slope because it's a constant rate of change. So I'm going to go up 1/3. So my slope is 1/3, and my beginning point's -2. So that, when I'm converting, I'm looking for a slope of 1/3 and a beginning point of -2. So subtract x, 3y equals -x minus 6, divide everything by 3, and I get y equals -1/3 x minus 2. Does that match? No, because my slope is positive. So A is not the right answer. Then I'm going to go to B. I get -3y equals -x plus 6, divide everything by -3, and I get y equals 1/3 x minus 2. So is B the right answer? Well, yeah, because my slope is -2, and my slope is 1/3, my beginning point's -2, so B is my correct answer. So when you convert them, then you can find your answer. So if you did numbers, these take a little bit longer, and for the sake of a long video going even longer, I'm just going to tell you the answers. So if you did number 14, you should be getting D. D would be your answer here. And if you did number 15 and want to check your work, C would be the correct answer there. So if you have questions, let me know.